Hi, Barry Adams, and welcome to Revival Magazine Interviews. It's great to have you here today. So you're known for your Father Heart ministry, in particular, that in 1999 you wrote and published the Father's Love Letter. Can you tell me a bit about what it is and what inspired you to write it?
Well, I came into a revelation of knowing God as a Father. I mean, I had been a Christian for many years, I think about 22 years, and actually Toronto has a big part to play in that, but I came into a revelation of knowing that God was not only just a father figure, but he was my dad. Mm-hmm. And as a result of that, I just saw scriptures from Genesis to Revelation that spoke of his love, and I love the Word of God, and I knew they were there all along, mm-hmm. but I asked the Lord one day if he could help me get these scriptures into one stream of thought, and he said if you put some of them in the right order and paraphrase them, it'll form a love letter. So that's what I did, and that's how the Father's Love Letter came out, just as a sermon illustration.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful thing, and it's now, like, come to now, from 1999 to now, it's in over 90 languages, and it's all over the world. Yeah. Did you anticipate or expect it being that popular?
It was simply a sermon illustration for a Sunday morning. I was a pastor at the time, and at our home church, I just prepared this PowerPoint sermon illustration on Father's Love Letter, and I was surprised as people were just starting to come unglued emotionally in their seats as they were watching this. And so as a result of that, we thought, wow, well, maybe if it blessed our own congregation, maybe we should put it on the internet. So that's what we did.
Mm-hmm. And your media has always been completely free, I understand. Well, the Father's Love Letter, yeah, and the video of it and, yeah, stuff online. What made you make that decision to have it free for anyone to access?
Well, I mean, for us, it was just the whole idea that the content it's not my letter. Mm-hmm. It's Papa's letter. So it was just like we wanted it accessible. And the internet at that point was fairly in its early stages, and so we really didn't know what we were doing. In some ways we wonder if we still do know, but we really wanted it to be accessible, and we just did it in English. But the only language actually that we decided to intentionally translate it into was German. And the reason why is that my mother-in-law, she was growing up she was adopted, she was given up for adoption, and every time that she would read the English Father's Love Letter, she would cry. So our heart, my wife and I's heart, was just to be able for her to read it in her mother tongue, mm-hmm. and so we created a German version, translated it, put it on the website, and once we put the second language on the site, it kind of opened up the floodgates where people started saying, well, we want it in our language too. So, I mean, to date right now, we have it in, I think, 98 languages on our site, and there's a bunch of other languages that it's available in, but it's tribal languages, and which doesn't serve any purpose to have it on the internet because they don't have internet access in the jungles. But yeah, it wasn't anything we expected at all.
And so, to make connections with certain countries, do you travel a lot with this message?
Well, we have traveled quite a bit over the years for speaking, doing like Father Heart type teachings, and the Love Letter. We've made so many connections, and it's been in so many countries, almost, I don't know if every nation, but most nations, and so we like to think that not only do we travel in person, but we travel around the world on the internet, mm-hmm. by just by seeing the Love Letter get there. So
yeah, and as far as the internet, I've seen debates about the power of the internet as a mission field. You use it a lot. You have multiple websites with your Father Heart ministry. Some people would say, it's far-reaching, but others would say, oh, it's too impersonal. What is your opinion on that?
We have heard from thousands of people over the years, and just heard how God has absolutely impacted people. His love has just come through the airwaves, or however the internet works, through cables or whatever, and people have seen, we've heard stories of people getting their lives changed. So we really believe that it's actually more personal than a lot of people think, because sometimes it's a person watching a computer screen, and they're just like 12 inches or 18 inches from the screen, and it's just them and whatever the message is. So I believe that it is one of the Romans roads of today, where it's a tremendous opportunity for us to go 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, everywhere in the world. And the neat thing is that people can be impacted without any human involvement because it's just automated and everything happens by itself. So
yeah, and when people read or see the Father's Love Letter online, what do you have for like follow-up? Is there more for them to see?
Well, we have like different websites, and we have a website called Father Heart TV where there's teaching on it, and we link to other ministries and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So we work with other ministries that actually distribute the love letter into entire nations, even.
Oh, wow.
Door to door. And so, there are lots of different ways where we like to connect people to other ministries as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a real explosion of Father Heart ministries all over the world. I've even seen on your website, you even list them. Yeah. Why do you think that the Father Heart is such a impacting and big issue for Christianity today?
Well, I think we live in a fatherless generation. And I think this generation that we're in right now is probably one of the most fatherless generations that has ever been. And of course, with divorce and of course, in other reasons why fathers aren't in the home. I mean, I really believe that the world is crying out for a father's love, whether they know it or not. We may search for it in relationships or success or achievement or other things. But there's a Bible verse in John 14, verse 8, where Thomas and Philip are talking to Jesus. And they say one line, and I really believe that line is the heart cry of humanity. And they just simply said, "Show us the Father, and it will be enough." And I really believe that that is the heart's cry of every person who has ever been created, is they were born from a biological mother and a father, and we were all created to experience a father's love.
Yeah. With your message, you have, like I said before, a lot of websites. You've got one, 365 Promises, that puts out a photograph with a message every day. You have daily readings, you have webcasts on Father Heart TV, and your son's life blog. How do you stay inspired to write so much and to have so much output all the time?
Well, I just believe that I have a media background. I used to be in the newspaper business for 19 years before I became a pastor. I just believe that every opportunity that we can get to be able to communicate the love of God in every form, it just inspires me. I find it so easy to do. It's so accessible. People can watch it, or they don't have to watch it. It's just kind of this free use of the internet, and I just think it's amazing, and it's such an opportunity. I guess one of the things that I feel that we're doing is we are modeling a way where other people can minister this way. And whether if you can't travel the world, maybe you're a housewife or you're working and you can't get off of work, you can be an internet missionary. So I think some of the things that we do, I'm just trying to show what things can be done. And we're not the be all end all of everything, but hopefully by the things we do, it might encourage others to do it too.
But do you have any plans to reach further, or any kind of new ways of doing that in the pipeline?
Well, what we're doing, we're doing webcasts now, where we'll have 10, 11, 12 countries in one webcast, and they're, of course, they're free. One thing that we're doing, it's kind of early days, but we are doing it. I spoke in Australia two weeks ago to a small home church via Skype. And cool. So we're the traditional way of you would actually get on a plane and go to churches. Now, what I'm really getting excited about is the ability to actually see the people, because in Skype, you can see video and you hear them and you interact with people. And my dream is to be able to speak in multiple countries on the same day using that Skype technology. So I think that that's going to be something that more and more people will use in the future too.
That's really incredible, the way to reach out with the message that God's given you and to share it anywhere. It's quite amazing what you can do, really. Thank you so much, Barry Adams, for coming in today, and it was a real pleasure to talk to you and find out a bit more. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Alice. Bless you.